fall of 2015, some 20 million students were expected to attend university. College is often marketed as a place to make friends, learn new things, and have the time of our lives.
We get the books, get the degree, and have an amazing time while doing it.
But what, beyond all those great things, is happening behind closed doors?
In recent years, it has become increasingly evident that college is also a critical time for mental health. College students are at some of the greatest risk for depression and suicide. 44% of college students report showing signs of depression. Collegiate mental health centers report that they could do good work if they weren't overwhelmed. With thousands of new students walking onto campus every single year, parents and students must ask, are college campuses doing enough to combat the growing epidemic of mental health?
General health centers have existed on college campuses since the first one was established at Amherst College in 1861. It wasn't until 1910 that the first mental health center appeared at Princeton University to help students with personality problems. Dr. Stuart Patton was the first college psychiatrist. Throughout the 20th century, students came to these mental health centers seeking help with existential issues and behavioral problems. While at one point colleges were responsible for simply teaching their students, an expectation grew that they must care for a student's mental well-being as well. But until recently, these services were not emphasized or required. Alumni Nancy Gorgas, a PSU graduate of 1991, remembers little about the services available when she was a student.
Well, I would imagine that there was plenty available. However, while I was there, it was not publicized. You would have to go looking for it if it was something you wanted or needed.
Today we can see that Penn State provides many mental health services that are well publicized and available right on campus.
Do you know where to go to get psychological help at Penn State?
I know that we have CAPS, so.
There's CAP or something.
Isn't there the student center right next to UHS?
No, I do not.
Nope.
It's CAPS though.
No.
Yes, CAPS in the student health center.
I know it's CAPS.
Like CAPS, isn't it in the UHS building?
Not really sure.
Campus.
Yeah, CAPS. It's by UHS across from Tesco.
Congress passed the Garrett Lee Smith Memorial Act in 2004, which mandated campus suicide prevention and technical assistance services, making colleges more responsible than ever for offering help to students struggling with mental health issues. The question then became, were colleges equipped enough to provide the necessary help for the overwhelming number of students dealing with depression, anxiety, and other serious mental problems? With the passing of the Garrett Lee Smith Memorial Act and an increased focus on the students' mental health, colleges are constantly being asked to do more for their students.
Counseling services at Penn State are dedicated to serving thousands of students every year through things like individual therapy, group therapy, crisis intervention, and psychiatric services.
Most services are free if you're a full-time student. All you need to do is make an appointment. Treatment begins with a 15-minute phone interview, after which a counselor will match you with the proper treatment.
According to Onward State, CAPS received a grant in early 2015 that allowed them to help 20% more students. Director Dennis Heitzman said that they are still looking into increasing their staff to acceptable levels.
There are important places to spend their money, but CAPS provides an integral service to its students and requires a little more help. Treatment of mental health at Penn State is also being improved by the research conducted at its Center for Collegiate Mental Health. Founded in 2005, this research network, spearheaded by Penn State, now includes over 300 college counseling centers nationwide. The goal of the center is to use research to improve and revolutionize the techniques used to serve college students struggling with poor mental health. Its most recent poll included information from 101,027 clients of counseling centers across the nation, targeting research on what problems are most urgent for students. It is one of the largest databases of its kind and provides the most up-to-date information on the mental health of today's college students.
The American Psychological Association would argue that this is not enough. It is not enough to know what students are struggling with. Something must be done. And in general, colleges are not doing enough for their students. Based on climbing rates of depression and suicide, they recommend that colleges expand, not just improve, their services to combat the growing problem. Many colleges, though, are finding themselves at an impasse with the expectations. Since most services offered to students are free, the budgets for mental health programs are limited. Even though the demand for services has increased dramatically, budgets for some counseling centers have remained unchanged. Counseling centers across the nation are struggling to keep their services proportionate to their student body and the demand. Even at Penn State, where the services are thought to be some of the best in the nation, there are waiting lists for help for students. There are other colleges that do not believe mental health is their territory at all, or want to avoid dealing with student mental health entirely. Princeton University has recently faced backlash over policies that mandate academic leave for students with a mental health episode. Students that leave may put the college's reputation in danger because of their risk for suicide or depression. They are forced to leave their classes and friends and put their life on hold while they deal with their illness. This may push back their graduation year and put their mental state in further turmoil, especially as they try to reapply to a college that pushed them out. According to Chris Lehman, the policy manager at Young Minds, students feel that universities only care about the results and they're not investing in their welfare. Some universities have not had a clear policy en route to help students out with mental health.
Students are generally in favor of colleges expanding existing mental health services. One club that is pushing for the expansion of services is Active Minds at Penn State. This club is committed to changing the conversation about mental health in order to reduce the stigma surrounding mental health. The hope is that a reduced stigma will allow more students to use existing resources. Missions like these show that there are students at college trying to reclaim the responsibility of good student mental health. On October 14th, the class of 2016 revealed that their class gift would be an endowment to the Counseling and Psychological Services at Penn State, otherwise known as CAPS. According to Penn State Executive Vice President Nicholas Jones, the gift would help the center provide students with priceless services to combat mental health problems. He believes the need for additional funding is growing as more students recognize the essential support that CAPS is able to provide to them.
There's not enough being done about student health in general. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 24-year-olds, and the rates of depression and suicide have been on the rise for the last 50 years.
Students are clamoring for more resources. The Penn State class of 2016 gift shows this, as does the fact that college counseling services are currently overwhelmed with the students that want to use the services. The wait time just keeps growing.
Whether you believe that colleges are doing enough or not, the problem of mental health on college campuses won't be solved in a day, nor by one counseling center. But something must be done. Students deserve to enjoy all aspects of their college experience.